Welcome to the I Heart My Fit Biz podcast, where we will be covering everything you need for inspiration, motivation, and practical advice in how to create a thriving fitness business. So welcome to this week's podcast. We have a special guest today, Katy from SOSA Dance Fitness. And we're going to be talking lots of different things, but mainly hopefully giving you lots of tips and advice for not just online fitness, but your fitness classes and you kind of as an instructor as well. So welcome, Katy. Hello.
Hello, thank you for asking me to join you.
You're welcome. Now, I just want to give a brief overview because the reason why I asked Katy, she's the first guest I've asked to come onto the podcast, is because basically Katy really inspired me. I don't know how many years ago it was now, but really inspired me to create my own dance fitness brand. I was a studio coordinator, and at the time I was a studio coordinator. I was probably teaching about 20 classes per week. Part-time studio coordinator, and she emailed me to ask if she could do a demo of SOSA Fitness at the centre, and I was like, yeah, that's brilliant. Got some instructors to come and join. I think some members joined as well, and beforehand I was just asking her about dance fitness brand, and afterwards, and she probably doesn't know this, but afterwards I thought to myself, wow, I can do this, and I was at the point in my career where I was like, I'm tired, I'm knackered, I'm teaching lots. And she just came with so much energy and with this great dance fitness brand. And I felt so inspired. So I just want to say that first of all, which is
Lovely to hear that. Thank you. That's so nice to hear.
Yeah, you were so kind of down to earth, and you were talking about how you'd set it up, and again, fitness events, which you've just been talking about. And yeah, I ended that session, and I probably should have. And if anybody else feels inspired by somebody else, really just email them and tell them, because they probably want to know. And I probably should have emailed you straight after that, but that's always been in the back of my mind. And yeah, it really inspired me that day to think, I could do something like this, and I can do this, and it really just made me think of lots of different other opportunities that were available in the fitness industry. So
that's so lovely to hear. I'm so pleased.
No, I wanted to say it, and again, I probably should have said it a couple of, I think it was probably about 6-7 years ago now, but
I think it probably was.
It was when you first started, I think you just kind of launched. I think you'd done maybe you were doing it for a couple of years, but yeah, it just inspired me. And then when I set up Groove It Fit, I always referred back to, what did Katy email me when I was a studio coordinator? Can I email somebody and send them and get into a gym? So yeah, that's my first kind of experience really with somebody setting up their own dance fitness brand, and it was brilliant.
Oh, that's great.
So just give me a quick overview of your career, why you started SOSA, like everything you're doing now, what you've got going on, just a little kind of a recap of everything really.
Okay, yeah, so I started dancing when I was 6 years old, ballroom and Latin mainly to begin with. And I did that throughout my childhood. When I turned 18, I started doing my teacher training qualification with the International Dance Teachers Association. And shortly after, I became a qualified teacher. So I have been teaching dance for over 25 years now as a qualified teacher, which is quite scary to think, actually.
Yeah,
good. A long time. So I have a real passion for dance. I mean, the love of my life is dance. It has always made me feel so happy and so inspired. And really that's what led me to open SOSA, is because I understood what it did for me and how happy and inspired it made me feel. So I wanted to give others that opportunity. In the meantime, after I qualified as a dance teacher, I was still working in Liverpool Street in the City of London. I worked in investment banking for 14 years. So I would go to work from 8 till 6, and then I would come home, change my clothes, and then go and teach people how to dance. I did a lot of couples dance, teaching couples, wedding dances and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I've always done it, even though at a time it was a part-time job. And then I got married, and my husband was like, well, I never see you because you work all day and you don't. So I decided bravely. Well, I'd been made redundant anyway during the whole banking crisis, and I was like, right, this is the time. So yes, I took the opportunity to start my own dance fitness brand. Which at the beginning, I just had a good idea that I wanted to empower women and men, but people who were on their own that would felt intimidated going into a salsa club or a ballroom and Latin club if they didn't have a partner or anyone else to dance with, and they don't know how to dance. It can be a really intimidating experience. So this led me to set up SOSA in 2012 is when I started, in November 2012. Initially, it was just a dance class in my local village hall. I did some advertising with leaflets, and I had 25 women turn up, and it just spiraled from there beyond my wildest dreams. And I thought, actually, this is a really great idea. There's lots of people that want to learn to dance, want to learn all the beautiful steps, but they don't have a partner, so they want to on their own. So then I started opening more classes for myself in my local area, and they were so popular that I decided to get the program endorsed. And I went to reps at the time, who were the fitness regulator, and filled out all the documents and created a training program. And then the program was endorsed. So in February 2015, we officially launched fitness at Move It Dance London, which was a fantastic experience. Move It has always been the best dance event for me. I've always attended there. So every year. So for me, that was, to be up on stage, that was just such a dream come true in itself.
Yeah.
And it's gone from there. It's all spiraled from there. We've now trained over 640 instructors, 16 countries worldwide. We've now got 3 programs: a standing program, a seated program, and a supported program, covering people from all ages right up until elderly adults.
Fab. It's amazing. It is really amazing. And I love that you're so inclusive as well, of just like everybody, like I say, just from starting with people who didn't have a partner to dance with, to seated, and just all, and everything you do, it you can just tell it's from that place of, this is for everybody. You love what you do, and it's just really authentic, which is so good. Okay, so let's stay on that, setting up your own dance fitness. What would you say to, or what tips, advice, or what experience have you had in setting up your own dance fitness brand, but also advice to any fitness instructor who is thinking of doing something kind of big in their career, like not necessarily an instructor training, but anything for them. For some instructors, it might just be doing community classes or taking that next big step. What kind of advice would you give, and what experiences have you had in taking that leap yourself to setting up something like SOSA?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I think the best advice is absolutely know your client, and know whatever your idea it is that you have. If ideally, think of something that's quite unique, something that's not already offered in your local area, and get to know your client. When you're advertising and marketing, it is so important to actually talk to the person that you want to attract to your class.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I've found this a little bit difficult, because really what I'm offering is dance. It's low impact, and it's for all ages and abilities. So therefore, it's actually hard to pinpoint a client, although I would say that really our programs has grown to target sort of the 40 plus market. So definitely, do some research in your local area, find out what's going on in your local community, and speak to the person that you want to attract. Try not to sell what you're doing as such. Try and connect with people.
I just want to pause you there as well, because I've just literally been talking to a fitness instructor, and again, it's everybody I talk to, in terms of taking their fitness business online or starting a fitness business, and it's something that I ignored for a very long time. But every course I did about business, about it's what's your ideal market, who is who, and I think a lot of the time, especially as fitness instructors, we want to help everybody. and we can help everybody. And a lot of us teach lots of different things as well. So it's like, well, I don't really have one particular audience because I teach this and this and this, and it's for different types of people. So sometimes it can be really challenging, but I think that's like, I would probably agree that's the number one thing, that if you are doing anything, especially for a business, know your audience. Like that's the number one. So yeah, absolutely agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
that is the top tip, is just whatever brand it is that you're teaching or whatever program it is that you're doing, even if you're doing different things, each thing will appeal to a different market.
Yeah,
So absolutely know your client.
definitely.
And to get out there in your local community as well. You know, go and speak to people in your local community. Go and, you know, hand leaflets out. I know it seems a bit old school now to do that because of all the online, you know, Facebook and all of the rest of it that we've got, but there is nothing like face-to-face connect with
that
people.
connection, that building that know, like, and trust as well, isn't it? And
It is.
yeah,
Location is also very important when you're setting up classes. If you're thinking about opening a community class, you know, location is everything. People need it to be accessible. They need it to be affordable, especially now with the price going sky high. What the fear is that we don't want what we're doing to become a luxury for anyone. We want it, what we're doing is a necessity. People's health should absolutely be number one priority. But a lot of the time, if they've got children and stuff, you know, things are very expensive. So be somewhere that's accessible, be affordable, and, you know, location, parking. There's a lot to think about when it comes to hiring.
And what would you say around that, like that fear of like, oh my God, this is overwhelming, or this fear of what if I'm not good enough? Because we all have those fears. And I think even if it feels like, you know, for instance, we're all at different stages in our fitness careers. Some it might be a really big step in, again, creating your own dance fitness brand, or again, that small step of just starting one community class. But we all have, the fear is the same, isn't it, really, because it feels big. What advice would you give around that kind of, oh, can I do this? Or, you know, how did you handle it when if you had any fears about launching your dance fitness branding? What advice would you give?
I think it really does come down to self-belief. If you believe that in what you're doing, if you're very passionate about what you do and you believe in what you're doing, then your best will be good enough. And I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to think, oh, can I be doing anything better? You know, the person down the road, you know, they've got more than me. All you can ever do is be your best.
Yeah.
And I think if you're extremely passionate, you're, you know, inclusive, open, and you connect with people on a very personable level, then people will want to be a part of what you are doing or offering. Be true to yourself, I guess, is the best advice to that.
Definitely.
Don't look around and try to be better than anybody else or compete with anyone else. We're not in competition with each other. People come to you, whether it's you own a brand or whether it's just a class, but they'll come to you for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the thing. And a lot of the time we are in comparison, aren't we? We're like, oh gosh, but they're doing the same. Especially with so many brands out there as well. You know, I think it started, well, for me, my fitness career started in a big way with Zumba. And there was like so many Zumba instructors. But again, as much as like it's like, oh, that person doing this, even with Zumba, I think you can still have that personality come through with whatever you are teaching, whether it's a brand or whether it's your own style. And you'll probably say this to all your instructors as well, like, you know, be you. Like, yes, you've got this routine, but teach it in your way, teach it in your style.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's, especially with Facebook and Instagram and all of this, it's very easy to get overwhelmed, look around and think, oh, there's all this competition.
Yeah.
I think to reframe that, what we are actually as an industry, because there are so many dance fitness brands and so much out there for people, all that's doing is actually, you know, making it more accessible for people to, you know, there is something out there for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, someone who likes the class down the road, that will, you know, that's not going necessarily your local competition as such. Their class isn't going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
you know, so
Exactly.
will offer different things than they will just by your personality and just in the way you run, you know, your class.
And I always say to people as well, the right people hear you differently, and also you hear you, and this is kind of coming from kind of marketing messaging, but you could be saying exactly the same thing as somebody else, but because you've said it, that person's going to listen to you. And it's the same thing with kind of classes. You know, if you could be teaching exactly the same routine, exactly the same content as somebody else, and somebody might like your class and somebody might like somebody else's class. It doesn't mean that you're better or different. It's just you're both different. And people like different things, and that's a good thing. It's not like a bad thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
Okay,
the
so
more classes out there, the more we're encouraging everybody to get moving.
exactly.
That's what we're all in this industry for, is to
Definitely.
make people's lives better, isn't it? So
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And again, the more we can work together, the better. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think a lot of the time our fears are in our head based on those comparisons, but actually when we take that away and when we all think we're all in this together, you can't compare, can you? It's just like we've all got the same goal.
yes,
So there is no competition. So yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, well said.
So transitioning online, how was that for you over lockdown? And what advice would you give now that we've kind of lockdown has lifted? How have you still continued online, and how would you find that balance between face to face and online? And but yeah, what's your kind of experience with it all?
So obviously at the beginning, when we all discovered Zoom, because we didn't know what Zoom was before March
Yeah.
2020, it was a real challenge, both for myself, but obviously I've got a huge team of instructors, you know, all over the world, and that I must say a lot of them did find it extremely challenging. You know,
Yeah.
first of all, it was having good internet, technology barriers. You know, it's okay dealing with the younger generation, but certainly from my perspective, my seated SOSA instructors, you know, we're teaching 80-year-old people how to dance.
Yeah.
They have the technology. So there was a huge barrier with that. Then, of course, we had the music issues. And that was, you know, not just with the PPL license and the PRS, but also, you know, getting the music to come across well online without a delay. So what speaker to use, and if you could use a microphone. And we had all of these different issues, didn't we, to begin with?
Yeah.
But I think it took a little while, a month or two, but eventually I think it was a lifeline for everybody, an absolute lifeline. It's, you know, it made people, you know, realize actually the value of, I think it's made people realize the value of exercise even more than they did before.
Yeah, definitely.
Still to this day, although it is wonderful to be back doing classes face to face, there is still a huge, you know, benefit to be running online classes, because people's lives have changed first and foremost. So, you know, if they've got children or whatever, it's not necessarily easy for them. People's careers have changed. They can't leave the house. So for them to have that, you know, on tap, that they can just either stream or join you on a Zoom call, you know, is priceless for a lot of people. And there are still a lot of older adults and vulnerable adults that are worried about returning
Yeah.
to, you know, group classes and these social situations. So I think not only from an exercise perspective, but certainly from a social and mental well-being perspective,
Yeah.
it is incredibly powerful to be able to still offer online classes,
Yeah.
because people are still being able to interact with each other
Exactly.
without having that fear of catching COVID, because, you know, the COVID rates are still very high at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, well, like so we've literally just both had COVID
Yeah,
quite recently. So,
we've both had it ourselves.
yeah, and like I say, you could probably still hear it in my voice of having COVID. And I think, like I say, and again, it does come down to that fear of, again, especially with the older adults as well, like, and vulnerable people who don't want to kind of be in that environment just yet. But it's opened again so many doors as well for instructors for different avenues of business as well, because you know, if you can't go hire a hall, you have got the option now of going online. I think it's made us all a lot stronger. I think What would you say now in terms of if somebody's had, I know a lot of instructors have had a bad experience online, that the Zoom just didn't work for them, but now they're back to face-to-face classes, numbers aren't high. What advice would you give to those kinds of situations that are out there at the moment? Because it's
I
tough.
do think, yeah, it's really tough out there at the moment. But I do think that there is massive benefit to doing both,
Mm,
both options, offering those face-to-face classes, because people do. A lot of people are craving that social interaction again.
yeah,
Getting back to that, but definitely for online. Well, and you can reach people, not just in your local area. You can
exactly.
reach people wherever they are.
Yeah,
The marketing, it's just about getting marketing it well, I think, so that you can open it up to everyone. For example, I did a training day online on Saturday, and I had a lady from Spain and a gentleman from New Zealand join me. Well,
wow.
that was prior to the pandemic. We never did any training online. I would
Exactly.
fly to New Zealand and fly to Spain in order to train them.
Yeah. Wow.
It really does. I mean, it's opened the world up, hasn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's the touch on a point there of marketing, and a lot of people that I speak to is like the not now it's not the frustration of the techie stuff, it's the frustration of the marketing stuff, and
Absolutely.
actually getting out there and getting people back in, and building online in a bigger way now that lockdown has been lifted, and things like that. So again, do you have any advice on that in terms of marketing or bringing new people in? And I think you kind of touched a little bit before in saying that sell the benefits and not just what the features of what you're kind of giving, but the benefits as well, like of what they are actually getting when
Yeah.
they come to a class or when they go online.
Yeah, I think that is so true. So when you're marketing, if you're still doing online classes, still speak to that person that is at home that might be fearful of coming back to classes. Get into their mind and feel what they're feeling. Feel, the fear that they might have, or
Mm,
the fact that their career's changed or their husband's career's changed and they can't then go out to go to a class.
yeah,
Remind them of how accessible this is for them, and how that they'll still get the social interaction online.
yeah.
Uh, because some people, I think, are still feeling a lot of social isolation to
Mm,
point. And I think this is such a powerful tool in, not, like I said, not just for the exercise, but for the mental well-being,
yeah,
the social interaction. So I think instead of just saying, oh, I'm doing an online whatever class, this week, actually say, are you at home, at the moment? And
mm,
it would be so wonderful to connect with other people.
yeah,
Well, why don't you come along and join in this fun and friendly session where there's no one's watching you,
yeah.
judging you. It is just a place where wonderful people get together and have a bit of fun, exercise, and get to meet new friends.
Yeah, amazing, amazing tips and advice there. Thank you so much, Katy, for joining me today on the podcast. And if you are interested in SOSA Dance Fitness, if you want to become an instructor or you want to try a class, you want to experience that a little bit more, it's an amazing dance fitness brand. And you can see how passionate Katy is about it and how inclusive it is and how much experience she has. So I will put all of Katy's links and SOSA Dance Fitness links in the show notes below. So make sure that you're clicking through and checking out Katy and giving her a follow on social media too. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. If you found anything interesting, inspiring, motivating, useful in this podcast, please reach out to me and let me know. I love to hear your stories and how this has helped you. It's been my aim and my passion to help fitness business owners build thriving fitness businesses, but also build a fitness business without burnout and exhaustion, because that's where I found myself a few years ago. So if you need help with your fit biz, whether it's building online and creating an online service with a website and app and new clients coming into your fitness business on a constant, consistent basis, or maybe you would love help filling your classes and bringing in new clients to your classes every week and every month, Maybe it's social media that you're struggling with in terms of promoting your fitness business. Whatever it is, I think I can help. I have the I Heart My Fit Biz Members Club, which is full of tutorials and masterclasses that's going to help you with a great fitness business mindset and practical tools that you can implement in every area of your fitness business. Or maybe you're teaching 20 plus classes per week and you're burnt out and you're exhausted like I was a few years ago, and you need help taking your fitness business online so you can bring in an online income stream without teaching a single class. And that means you can start teaching only the classes that you absolutely love to teach because you love to teach them. And I can help you do that with the mentorships. We have group mentorships, one-to-one mentorships, and premium mentorships where I do the techie stuff for you. So I will add all the links below if you are looking for more help in creating a thriving fitness business. If not, subscribe to this podcast or follow me on social media so you can get tips and advice on creating a thriving fit biz.